What's up YouTube? This is Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. I'm going to show you how to change your front brake pads and brake rotors on a 2006 Toyota Sienna. First thing I like to do is make some room for the new pads by pushing the caliper piston back inside to the caliper itself. I found the easiest way to do this is with a standard flathead blade screwdriver. You can put it in here through this little opening in the side of the caliper and pry that towards you. Doesn't take a whole lot of force. And sometimes you can wedge that screwdriver all the way in front of the front pad here, and that will give you the most leverage in order to push that caliper piston back in. And there we go, that's bottomed out. Now that we have that caliper piston pushed back in, we can take the caliper off. And in order to do that, there are just two bolts. They're both 14 millimeter, and we just need to remove those. Now they go into the caliper slide pin here. Sometimes that slide pin will spin while you're loosening this bolt. If that's the case, you'll need to put an open-end wrench on that to hold it still. This is a 17 millimeter open-end wrench that you may need. You may or may not. We'll just loosen those. Okay. And it doesn't look like the pin on the inside is moving, so we don't need that open-end wrench this time. That's what those bolts look like. Take out the other one here as well. And with those out, you can just gently lift your caliper off. It's a good idea to inspect the boot, make sure you don't have any tears or cracks, and this one looks okay. Now rather than let this dangle by the brake line, I like to prop it up out of the way. So I'm going to balance that on the backing plate here, or the dust shield. Sometimes you can tie that up with a zip tie. Okay, now we can pull those old pads out. This caliper support bracket is what we're going to remove next, and for that we're going to use a 17 millimeter socket, and those are on there pretty good. That might hurt your hand a little bit, but we'll just loosen those up. Okay, and that's what those bolts look like. And then you're going to want to have one hand on the caliper mounting bracket so that doesn't drop on you. And we can take that off and set it aside. Now you'll notice the brake disc itself is already coming off here. It's already loose. Sometimes they are not that loose. They've got a couple threaded holes here in case they are stuck to the hub, that you can put a couple bolts in there, and by tightening those, that will pry the brake rotor off. But now we've got the new brake disc here. Just put that right back on, just like so. Now when these come shipped or packed from most auto parts stores, they usually have a little bit of some sort of an oil to prevent them from rusting when they're packed, so you want to make sure to clean that off. I already wiped this down with brake clean, and I'll hit it again once before we're completely finished here. But you just kind of hold that up in place and bring your caliper mounting bracket back where it was, and then you can just get one of those bolts started by hand. And we'll do the bottom one here as well. Now you're going to want to see your manual for the proper torque spec there, but just make them tight. The caliper support brackets are pretty tight. Okay, now we can put our new pads back in, but what I like to do before I put these pads in is I like to put a little bit of this Sil-Glyde brake lubricant on the back. What it does is it really tends to dampen some of the vibration. It doesn't take very much, just a little dab or two along the back pad, along the back of the shim here, and then I like to put a little bit at each end where the brake contacts that little retainer spring, and then these will just slide into place like so. Same thing for the other pad. Just a couple little dabs is all it really needs. Just spread that on there. Really thin layer, and then a little bit on the ends where it makes contact with those brake tension springs, or retainer clips, I guess. And again, we'll just come over here and put that in. Now we can put our caliper back down over everything. You just want to be careful when you're putting that on that you don't damage the rubber boot. And we'll put those caliper bolts back in. And we can tighten those with a 14mm socket wrench. Verify the spec with your manual. And that's pretty much it. Just need to wipe down the rotor once more with that brake clean, torque everything to spec, get your tire back on, and you're good to get on down the road. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.